Welcome. Welcome, everyone. It's Mike Young, a digital nomad. I'm kind of at the White House, as you can see here, giving a encouraging and hopefully motivational, yet sobering and somber speech here that I have had zero speech writers help me with. And I don't even have a full outline together, but I got tons of notes on things I want to say. I feel like I need to make this video. And if you agree, please type yes in the comments. The state of the nation, state of the union, state of the world, really, state of how things are in 2024 and how things have been going as things have shifted over the years that I've been alive anyway. And when I'm recording this video here in May of 2024, I'm 54 years young. I hope that I'm only maybe a third of the way through life. And if you want to know more about that, health is a big thing. Health is the real wealth. It absolutely is. And I've got a free resource for you at liveto150.org. liveto150.org. It's a free book. Listen to it like a podcast or audiobook. Anyway, if you're going to be alive for a while, which I hope you are, you're going to need to know about some strategies about how to approach the world in 2024 and beyond into the future. And that's what I'm hoping to bring insight to you. Now, how did I get to this point where I felt like I had to make this video? It's from watching a lot of content on YouTube and other places on the internet, a lot of it from Gen Z folks. I haven't seen much for Gen Alpha out there. We've already heard a whole generation of complaints from the millennials out there, okay? Now, what's going on? Even that the millennials couldn't quite figure it out, because I couldn't maybe not quite figure it out there, even though I'm always kind of working into the future, trying to see, what I can see, where things are going, where the world's going. I think now with Gen Z, we definitely know. All right, and Gen Alpha is hopefully going to pick this up, because this needs to be taught to people at a very young age. That's the thing, okay? That's what has to happen with this. So let me see how I can get in this. First of all, it's kind of brought on by a lot of videos I saw talking about a quarter life crisis. One video even talked about how they invented the term. Okay. And I'm like, no. I've been around for a while. I remember back in 2001, an artist named John Mayer, which maybe nobody even knows who he is anymore. He had a song called, what's it called? Georgia. Why Georgia? Why Georgia? Why? That's my really bad singing voice. Okay. He talks about having a quarter life crisis in that video in the year 2001. So this has been around for a long time. But the quarter life crisis he was talking about there more had to do with, I don't know, just what the unlimited choices he wants to do with his life. But now in 2024, we realize we've got a lot of the stuff figured out, and so many of the systems that are in place in this world are degenerative systems. We need to form a regenerative life, a life that will support the planet for generations going forward. If you don't understand why, you got to read my book, Live to 150. Just go to our nonprofit site, actually, aplantbaseddiet.org. You'll find all the information there, including some other things I'm going to talk about here, because I think it's where the world is going and why we're in this space with our nonprofit. Now, in the past, kind of growing up in the 70s and 80s like I did, I think everybody kind of thought about, okay, well, first of all, men had traditionally been the breadwinners in the household, traditionally, although that was changing during that time. And the goal was to go to college or to pick up a trade or something and work. There really was no other option. There was no internet. Nobody even thought the internet would even exist. Okay. There was no cell phones either. You called somebody, you were attached to a cord and they were attached to a cord, and you know exactly where they were. So things have changed. All right. Now this is what I want to get into. When I say things need to start early, I mean we need to start teaching kids very young. Why? Because as you know, and as I've seen on these videos, the cost of living has become outrageous for many different reasons. Specifically, one of the most recent things has been the pandemic and the printing of money by the US government, which has devalued everything and caused a run up in costs for things, inflation. It's crazy how that all worked out. And it really left younger people way behind in this process. That's the thing. I don't even know, people who are young don't even think they can catch up. I see people talking about all the time how they just resolve themselves that they'll never be able to afford a house. And by the way, I'm a licensed realtor in Raleigh, North Carolina, in those areas of the triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always reach out to me direct to my mobile, 240-205-0417. But the biggest takeaway about real estate is own it. You need to own it. You know why? Because it's an amazing hedge against inflation. And I know for like 10 or 20 years, it didn't seem like there was any inflation or very little. But then look what happened. Now, if you didn't own a house during that time frame, what happened? Like I said, you hear it all the time. People who are very young are thinking, I can never afford a house. It's so much more of a percentage of my income than you boomers or whoever it was ever thought it would be. And it's true. I never thought either. I collected a bunch of real estate, thankfully, and have been able to see the values of this stuff skyrocket. And the people that have been out of the market have been out of the market, and now they have to buy in at super high prices. It's not good. All right, so is the American dream dead? I think it might be. At least the American dream that we have known. And I have a chapter on the American dream in my book, Live to 150. So check that out if you want to. But what has to happen? I'll tell you what has to happen. First of all, when I was young, I started cutting grass when I was like 8 years old. It's the only job I could do. That was it. There's no internet. But now people need to get online and use the internet to their advantage. That has been factored into the market, I believe, because that was never factored in the market in the past. And in the past, you could just go out and work 40 hours a week and support a household because there was no internet. But now that there's an internet and it's a competitive world we live in and everyone across the world can access it, you need to teach your kids how to use it correctly when they're young. Do not let them use it as a consumer, because that's how almost everyone uses the internet, as a consumer. I got notes on my phone, okay? I'm developing audiences. That's how I'm using it. Developing businesses. That's what you need to do. And guess what? There is zero barrier to entry in almost all businesses on the internet. And there's zero age barrier either. So you can make a game out of this with kids. You need to teach them how to use this as a tool, not a distraction device, not a waste of your life and creation of drama, which is how most people seem to use it these days. It's unbelievable. So yeah, social media has been a net negative for almost everybody out there. Give me a thumbs up if you agree. Comment below if you agree that social media is bad. But social media is not inherently bad. It's just the way people are using it. Teach people young that, especially when you're not out 18 plus, 21 plus, and have to support your own household or try to with roommates. Teach people how to have fun. Do something you like. Turn it into a business online. Almost no cost, no barriers to entry. What's not to like? Why aren't people raising their kids like this? Then the other extreme I see is people say, oh, my kids are never going on any devices or internet until they're 18. Well, that's just as bad, okay? Because all this has been factored in. That's why housing is so expensive, because you can live anywhere now, anywhere, even the most remote places. Think of Starlink, that's the internet service from Elon Musk, right? It's made any property accessible to the internet with reliable, high-speed internet. That's all you need. And an electricity source. That's all you need. It wasn't like this when we were growing up in the past. And the thing is, communications and transportation have improved too. You can get whatever you want wherever you are. And in many places, life is much better than the US too, if you really consider all facets of life. And it's another thing, if you want to learn more, go to our nonprofit at plantbaseddiet.org, click on intentional communities. Learn. You'll be amazed if you have no idea what I'm talking about, what you will find there in that video. There's a couple videos actually on there. One that we just released about the Amazon Fruit Festival, but you can rent our house, La Casa Más Alta, short-term rental. Learn about all this stuff. Okay. Oh, I want to delete that note. All right. Is the American dream leaving the country? Yes, leaving the country, leaving the United States. It's not heaven on earth, okay? It's one of many countries. And we're in a different era now, okay? You need to put this on the table. It's not like in the past where if you left, oh, I may never see you again. I may never hear from you again. It's so expensive, the communications, the travel. No. You got video chat. Everybody's device has video chat on their phone. Come on. It's cheap. It's free. And if you can get the wireless service is free, by the way, if you don't believe me, I have another video on the channel here about Verizon Visible. Go find it. It's in there. $25 a month. Ridiculously inexpensive. Is the middle class dead? Yes, I guess so, because it was based on the fact that you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't do anything unless you had tons of money. There was very little information gathering ability or opportunity to start an online business or anything like that. It didn't exist. So yeah, that traditional middle class you need to just say it's okay, because now we have more opportunity than ever. And when I say we, I mean everyone. It's just a matter of whether you're going to devote some attention to your digital device or internet tool to learn about something you like and develop an audience and develop a business around that. And like I said, you can do that at any age. I started cutting grass when I was 8. I wish I had this. My life would be so much different now and better. Okay? It would, because the great thing about the internet is the hyper focus, the hyper specificity, the long tail, where you can get involved in so many super specific, you know, ideas or methods of thinking or like-minded individuals. It's all out there. Don't use it to waste time. Don't use it to get in trouble. Don't use it to make bad decisions. Teach this to your kids. Use it to develop an audience. Use it to learn something about things that you like that are actually helpful to people, and just do that. And you'll find that you can support yourself. And it may not be in the United States. It may not be down the block from your mom or your dad. But you know what? You can talk to them on the phone 24/7 for free on your video chat. So just do that. Okay? And maybe, oh, I know, I almost forgot. All this involves having an open mind. Get an open mind. It's a choice. Just have one. Consider things that are new that you haven't considered before. As I talked about before, the pandemic really created this massive wealth divide. It kind of sped up. It's, in a way, it was good because it allowed employers to, or it forced them to trust their employees so that they could work remote, which Denise and I have benefited from that, which is awesome. I never thought that would happen. But it's also, again, it's more opportunity. That means you can go live somewhere cheap and keep your high-paying job. Again, see, the paradigm has shifted. There's new opportunities. This is all factored in. This is one of the reasons why real estate has become more expensive too. They know that. Well, any real estate, maybe the most rural, cheapest areas haven't caught up yet, and that's where you should go. Listen to that. Listen again. The most rural, cheapest areas of real estate haven't caught up yet, with the fact that digital service is ubiquitous and so many people can work remote and work anywhere. So the value of those properties is going to keep going up. And guess what? Some of those are the cheapest properties on earth are this. And most of these are not in the United States, although some of them are. And if climate isn't important to you, and hurricanes aren't important to you, and a bunch of other things that go along with the good climate areas of the US, including tsunamis in Hawaii and all this other stuff, because those are a factor for sure. As you like to grow your plants outdoors, you may not want to be in the United States. And again, even cheaper in certain areas, as long as you go to the right areas. So these things should give you ideas. And if they do give you ideas and this video is valuable, please share it with somebody. Also, please go to the lower right-hand corner to the thanks button or the super thanks button and tip me commensurate with the amount of value that you're getting from this video. Please, thank you. I very much appreciate it. All right. Opportunities that exist on the internet. Yeah, so I think what's happened is you cannot expect a traditional job to support you or a household. Just accept that. That's all you have to do, is accept that. That was a time in history where you went away. That's gone away. And what we are doing and seeing now is the future. And it's more opportunity than ever. It's more choices than ever. It's less boredom. There's nothing more boring than being stuck in a job you don't like for 30 years just so you can get a pension. Okay? That's soul crushing potentially. It's also destructive to your mental health. Makes you wonder, why are we even here? Well, wouldn't it be better to choose whatever you wanted to do from an early age and just do that? Kind of opt out of the system? Because that's another thing I want to mention. Nobody here chose this system. The system of, okay, you were born into this world, and guess what? You have no choice, but you have to go out and work and support a household and retire and pay for all this and figure that out based on this fiat currency that is totally made up, and you must do it and you can't opt out. That's why people get upset when they hear the middle class is dead. But there's more opportunities, like I've already described in this video. There's communities in Ecuador like Terra Frutis and Fruit Haven, specifically Terra Frutis, where you can rent our house. Check it out on our website, aplantbaseddiet.org. And if you don't need that, don't worry about it. I'm just giving other people more options by saying it. Because there's many ways to live life. You choose how you want to do it. All right. College has gone way up, right? Mm-hmm. Seen plenty of stuff coming out about that. Oh my gosh, college is so expensive. Forgive all the student debt. Yeah, it was cheap in the 70s and 80s. College was cheap, but they took advantage of it. They restricted enrollment. They capped the number of students they could have, and it's skyrocket supply and demand, right? The thing is, you don't need college anymore unless you want to be in a specific profession that requires a specific college degree. Other than that, you don't need to go. In fact, some of the better, higher paying jobs are in the trades and services areas, or just make up your own shit on the internet. Make up a business. Whatever it is that you like doing, just dive into that on the internet. Don't waste your time. Don't get in trouble. Don't do bad things. Try to develop an audience. Hopefully, you have some parents teach this to your kids to do this from an early age. Grandparents, if the other parents are too busy because they can't afford a house like I'm talking about over here, then you do it, because that's what needs to happen. They need to learn how to use this thing as a tool to produce rather than consume. And this is likely the answer to most people's problems. Okay. So forget college. You may not need it. College is past its prime unless you're in a specific thing that requires a very specific degree. I get it. If that's what you want to do, go for it. For everyone else, do something else. Then the cost of college will come down too, and everyone else does that. So the people that need the college degrees, you can thank you for saying that later. Again, share this video with somebody that could benefit from the message. All right, groceries. Groceries have gone up way up too. So if you want to grow your own food, another reason might be to go somewhere where you have 12 hours of sunlight every day, constant temperatures. You don't need to have air conditioning and heating. You don't need to pay for all these things and things that break, right? Again, open your mind. Open your mind. Just because I'm doing this from the US doesn't mean that you need to stay in the US. Maybe pre-internet, printing of ridiculous amounts of money by the US government, it really made sense. And it is a no-brainer. Of course we're going to do that. But now, no, of course, it's not. It's not a no-brainer. It is not a no-brainer. Okay? Please consider other options. All right, internet digital nomad opportunities are everywhere. Yeah, digital services mature now. It's ubiquitous. Digital services everywhere. Why do you think I started this channel in 2016 about a digitalnomad.net? Because I know this is the future. It's only gotten more so since this channel's been going. All right, that Starlink has opened up our communities in Ecuador to just unbelievable amounts of just opportunities and options, even if you're living in the jungle of the Amazon rainforest, like these communities. Okay. All right. So you must adapt, is what I'm saying. This stuff didn't exist in the 70s and 80s and previous generations. I know. Or if it was new for you millennials, okay, we didn't have it figured out, but we know we have it figured out now. You must adapt. That's what you must do. Stop pining for the past as if that was somehow better or the best way to go. I don't think so. I don't think it was. I think this is the best time ever to be alive. So don't miss it. Don't be locked into some traditional, I deserve the ability to do this. Start opening your mind. You have some unique ideas, unique things that you can get involved in on the internet. I highly recommend the internet over in-person jobs too. If you're catching this drift, even though I do some in-person jobs, I still recommend fully remote. Whatever it is you do, do it fully remote. It opens up your options about where you want to live. It really does. And costs. So. All right, so never expect college to be cheap again like it was in the 80s and 90s. I've seen some talks and people saying this. It needs to be cheap like this. No. The only way it's going to get cheap, like I said, is if everyone who shouldn't go to college doesn't. So the demand is way down, and the only people that need to go to get their specific degrees can do it at a much, much lower cost. And of course, online learning and stuff like we do through our nonprofit is also the future. I don't think you need to actually show up somewhere. Yes, network is important, but network online. Build your audience online. LinkedIn is a great platform for that. I've got like 26,000 connections on LinkedIn. I cannot network like that just going to a college or university. I'll never get connected with that many people personally. I just can't. So yeah, start a business before you enter the workforce. Have fun with it. Play with it as this is new playtime as a kid. Oh, let's get on here. What do you like? What do you do? Let's learn about this. What do people need? Let's help to develop this thing that people need for whatever it is that you're interested in. Then you're like living your life purpose, which I'm talking about in my book, Live to 150. And you're doing it from an early age. And if you don't know what it is because you're older, you probably weren't raised like this. You should have been raised like this. You need to be. The problem is people still want to stuff you into some traditional school as if that's the answer. And we know it's not going forward unless you're in a very traditional type of a profession that requires a very specific degree. And, most people don't end up doing that anyway. So anyway, thank you for all the folks that have done it. And I'm sure you're not complaining because you're making lots of money. So this is for everyone else anyway. All right. Teach money management in schools too. Money management, that's right. How to support a household, how to do it, strategies. Why is this not the most important subject in school? Because it needs to be now. Even if it didn't in the past, it needs to be now. Because you don't even need to go to traditional school anymore. If you're living in these remote areas, you can have any kind of schooling you want because all the information's there and you can get it because of ubiquitous digital service. Think about it. Think of all the opportunities and options. Again, I hope you're getting a positive vibe from this because, yeah, it's sobering, but yeah, it's such an expansion of your ability to do anything you want while you're alive. That's what it is. And even if you long for some day where you had 30-year employment and a pension, like I said, unless that job fully connected with you, like it was your life purpose, that may have been a prison for you. All right. And it may be, we may be suffering the fallout and consequences of that as generations that have followed those people that have done that. It's not all good, not even close. All right, find a mentor. Yeah, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Find a mentor. If you're not doing successful, don't hang out with unsuccessful people. If you want good financial advice, don't hang out with broke people. If you are unhealthy, don't hang out with unhealthy people. You've got to figure out what you want, list some goals. All this is in my book, by the way, Live to 150. This sounds like an advertisement for my free book. It's all connected. All this stuff is connected. Like I said, you want to support your household. You want to live the life you want to live. You want to not be sick. You want not to worry about money, which is all made up anyway. Like I said, you couldn't opt out of the system. You are forced into the system. There are ways to kind of step outside of it mostly, but not entirely. And you'll learn this if you kind of follow along with our channel a little bit more, and especially get involved with our nonprofit at aplantbaseddiet.org. All right, Starlink, we talked about ubiquitous digital service. Yeah, no part of the earth is remote anymore unless you go and try to hide and stay out of touch. You have to force yourself to stay out of touch with people anymore. It's not like it was before, so don't think that. Don't have those emotions like, oh my gosh. No, those are lies at this point in 2024. All right. Also, the luxury lifestyle. Here's another problem with social media. People are constantly watching other people. And, Facebook, the other name for it, I call it fake book. It's all only the good stuff, and half of it's made up anyway. Everyone wants to humble brag about all the stuff that they're doing, and I live in this lifestyle, and it costs all kinds of money, but I'm doing it. So everyone else thinks, oh my gosh, I don't feel good. I'm inadequate. And suicide rates are way up because of this. But the other thing is they feel like they got to earn even more money because that's the only way they're going to be happy. That's more lies, okay? Please. That's the problem with social media. Everyone's using it as a consumer. Most people are using it as a consumer, and it's ruining their lives, absolutely ruining their lives. Become a producer. Adopt a producer mindset. Learn. Don't learn how to be a consumer. Learn new skills. Learn new ideas. Hang out with people that challenge you and that want to do better, because nobody stays the same. You are either doing better or doing worse at something or everything in your life. Keep that in mind. All right, so yeah, real estate has become a luxury. People think I can't afford a house. No, you need a smaller house. Our houses, speaking as a real estate agent, a realtor, have just grown in size, and the family size is smaller than ever. This is another problem I want to talk about. Depopulation. Everyone from my generation is like, oh my gosh, there's too many people in the world. And I guess maybe right now there are. But look at the younger generations. Who is having lots of kids? Who? Almost nobody. Most people are going through and not having any kids, it seems like, anymore. Most people don't even want to get married anymore. So we don't need these giant houses we have. We need small houses, smaller houses. Why do you think people are getting all these roommates? Because this is all being accounted for into the market, into the way it's all factored in. We don't need these giant houses. Yeah, you got to be mega wealthy to have them. Otherwise, you're living with roommates. Or we got to build you a small house, which, by the way, is probably illegal depending on where you live. You got to find a place where it's actually legal to build a house like that. All right. So all real estate is almost all real estate now is a necessity that's turned into a luxury because of the type of real estate it is. You got to get back to basics here. Okay. Really, you do. We don't need all this excess that we have. We absolutely don't need it. This is one of the reasons why we can't afford it. Moving to another country, the main issue could be that you can't afford a mortgage. So you may have to save up your money. So in other words, save and invest. Don't think, oh, later on I'll figure this out. No, you need to keep building your net worth over time because you may need to or want to move to another country where you can't get financing. And yeah, it's harder to get financing than in the United States. The United States has done a good job at that. And unfortunately, the price you have to pay because the housing cost is so expensive is outrageous. So you may need to be saving your money for another country. Yeah, as I talked about earlier, how housing is more expensive as a percentage of wages and like boomers, and it keeps getting more and more as a higher percentage of your take-home pay is outrageous. Something needs to be done. I admit that. So hopefully you're listening because this is how it's going to be done. This is the new paradigm we live in. You just need to recognize where you are. Okay. It's kind of like investing in general. The best investments to have are the ones that are unrealized by people because those are the ones that go up in value exponentially. It's only after the fact that they've gone up in value exponentially that people realize, oh, I should own that. I should have bought that. I should buy that. You got to look forward. You got to think. Being ignorant is only going to hurt you. Don't be ignorant. Don't think, oh, this guy is crazy. Who has the time to think about this stuff? It's your life. Think about your life. What do you want to do and go do it? But yeah, the earlier, the better. It's kind of like that. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, which is, I don't even think a vegan expression anymore, knowing what I know about veganism. But start early. That's the point. Don't think you have all this time. The problem is if you waste time, then you cut away all your options and then you're miserable because you've cut away all your options. That's a bad position to be in. Then there's the loss of femininity potentially. You know, how women are equals in the workforce. More women are going to college. More women are earning more money. A lot of men have left the dating pool in their 20s. A lot of women can't find a man because their standards are so high. They all want hypergamy. I've done little videos on this. Hypergamy is basically, wanting to move up in the social level by money and status. Some people could call it greed, depending upon who you're talking to. But all this is translated into, the fact that people aren't getting married and not having kids. It's almost like we're heading towards the end because people will not be replacing themselves anymore and future generations just won't happen. And the reason why is because they're trying to mesh in all this stuff with the current lifestyle and system that they were born into and had no choice that they were born into it. But like I said, you can choose another way. That's why you got to open your mind. Only by choosing another way will we preserve humanity. I mean, it's become that big of a problem. 2/3 of men in their 20s are single. It's bad, okay? It's really, really bad. Most women, I think most women initiate divorces, 80%. Gender roles are all over the place. The only people that are having a better time, I'd say, are people that aren't straight at this point in time, okay? Yeah, you're probably, if you're not straight and you're watching this, you're probably like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. I'm having the time of my life or whatever. I guess so, but most people are straight. So this video is kind of more geared towards that, but anyone and everyone should consider all the options and become a producer, not a consumer. I don't want to leave anyone behind here, and everyone's going to have to act. That's why I need to make this video. Yeah, men's suicide rates are way up right now. It's not good because men don't see a purpose. They're not doing well. Women are outperforming in the younger ages. Also, the femininity aspect is gone. Women have to be tougher when they're in business. you know? So that's a thing that a lot of men just doesn't appeal to them if they're straight. It's a huge thing that nobody's talking about really, or not many people anyway. And then there's some people have viewed it. Men are saying like almost marriage isn't worth it, women aren't worth it. Have gotten to that point. This is someone else's take. Let me just read it. Men work 5 times harder than their grandfathers for women that are 20 times worse than their grandmothers were. So they're saying there's like a bubble where the value of women are inflated. This is nothing against women. I'm just saying this is one of the reasons why we may be in trouble as a human species. If you want to weigh in on this, please let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts. Say, Mike, this is a bunch of lies, or you're right on. Let me know in the comments, please. And so the dating market's crashed too. The other thing is everything's on display on the internet, right? So everyone sees everyone. So if every single person could see every other single person of the sex they want to date, they're only going to pick the ones that are almost exactly what they want, which is the ones that everyone's picking. So most people are left out of the dating market. Does that make sense? That's basically it. The law of averages. Most people are left out of the dating market. It's non-functional. It's crashed. Some people some guys have used the passport bros strategy, if you know what that is, which is basically Asian women. The guys in the U.S. who are straight will move over and find a woman over in the Eastern world, the Asian world, where people are much more appreciative. Where like a guy who's a 5.5 here is a 9.5 over there, and it's just because that dynamic, at least not yet, is not there for most of what's going on in Asia or the East. I also, before I finish this video, want to make sure that I tell the world that my wife is the greatest. I tell Denise, my wife, that she's the greatest all the time. There are a few days here and there that I skip it and don't say that, but she is, because she's incredibly open-minded, and she's just I think a real person that hasn't become infected by this system that is pervasive and is taking over, and the system itself is degenerative and going to implode itself. That's what I'm saying. I'm concerned for humanity. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that. We need regenerative systems, including just life in general, which I think we don't have right now. Yeah, and then the last thing, of course, you see masculinity is toxic. That's what people say. That's the other end of this whole spectrum, which I don't believe. Plenty of people have done stuff wrong that are men, of course. Most people that are in prison are men. I mean, you got to be real. But people who are trying to do better should not be labeled as toxic. All right, well, that's all I got for you. I really do hope that you listen and pass this along to your friends, relatives, acquaintances, the options, the fun you can have in life. If you want to know more too about all the stuff, we kind of wrap it up into our own vacation called the Health Optimization Cruise. Go to healthoptimizationcruise.org. But definitely give me a thumbs up. Give me some thanks or super thanks. Subscribe to the channel. And I really look forward to reading your comments, because this is a serious issue. This needs to be spread far and wide, not just the United States where I am, but all across the world. And just because some country is not the United States is not, don't think that I think it's better. It may be really worse. You don't want to live there. It may be hyper expensive like the US has become, all sorts of things. But thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I hope to see you in the future, the very, very distant future.